In the last lessons, we've looked at how we can select elements within our web page. And additional to selecting it by ID, selecting it by class name, selecting it by tag name, we can even isolate out these elements with even more consistency. And just like we do with CSS, where we've got multiple different types of selectors, we can also have a query selector that we can use within our JavaScript as well. So I'm just going to call this my SEL for selection, and again we're accessing that document object, and this is where we've got all of this contained. So the one that we're going to be using is going to be query selector all, and what this is going to do is it's going to return all of the nodes of the elements that are descended from the element which we're looking for. So query selector all, and maybe the ones that we're going to select out are going to be divs with a class of btn. And I know that we're able to select that via the class name up there, but this is just going to be another way in case you've got multiple divs that have the class btn. So maybe you have a span btn and you don't want to include that. So I'll just show you how this all works out. So listing out the myCL, and we should get 2 items returned. So just to be sure, we're going to refresh it, take a look at the console, and we see that we've got 2 items listed within the returned nodes. So if we select that second one, we get that exact same information that we did in the previous lessons there. So we also had looked at how we can update the inner HTML. So let's say I want to change this output, and I want to update output to be the same as the title of the web page. And we notice that within here, within the document object, we do have a listing of title. So this is going to be really easy to do, and this is one of those amazing things with JavaScript that it's just so easy to interact. So first of all, I want to do document get element by ID, and I'm going to select out that element with the ID of output. I'm going to update the inner HTML of it, and I'm going to equal that to document. And here it's just going to be really straightforward because this is already contained within the object, so I can just equal it to document title. So let's just see what happens here when I refresh the page, and I am trying to space this out so I'm able to see that full line of code there. So when we refresh it, we see that we've got the same title up here, and we filled out the element with the ID of output with that same content that we had available within the title. Now this is the same thing, so we can select out any piece of content within the document. So we've also got the URL, so if I refresh it, we can see our URL and so on. So we can literally just, when I open up the console, any piece of content contained within that console, within that document, we have access to. So we've got base URI we can use, we can access character set. So if we want to write out a character set, and that one turned out a little bit long, but as you can see, you can just pick out any one of these values. So anything that you wanted to access here, you do have access to it. So if you want to get the domain, same thing. You just have to update the document object, and we've got the domain listed there. Besides actually just pulling out this content, and of course any variables that we have in JavaScript, we can output those, we can make manipulations with them via functions and so on within our JavaScript code. So we also have more built-in functionality that's available within the DOM, because we have the ability to set things like the source code. We also have the ability to update styling, and a whole lot more. So in the next lesson, we're going to be taking a look at our web page, and we're going to be updating some of the styling. So maybe I don't like this teal color for the button. I've set it in styling. Well, I can use JavaScript to overwrite that. And the same thing with the image. Maybe I don't like this image and I want the image to change, and within the upcoming lessons I'm going to also show you how to trigger events via the DOM, and that will create that interaction where we click something and something changes. So all of this is coming up in the next set of lessons.